במעון ילדים, שבאמת, חוץ מתום אין שם שום דבר אחר, שנשחטו ופשוט הרגו אותם.
אתה רואה את הילדים?
בית, שמונה תינוקות.
8 תינוקות.
ובכן, לא נרצחו 8 תינוקות במעון בבארי מבהיר דובר בארי, ואין בבארי אישה בשם ג'ניה.
היו פה גם ילדים, תינוקות שנתלו על חבל כביסה ממש בשורה אחת. המראה מאוד קשה. כשראיתי את זה, זה גם כן זעזע אותי. אתה לא מבין בדיוק באמת מה אתה רואה מול העיניים, האם זה...
בוסקילה מדבר על אירוע כביכול בכפר עזה, אבל לכפר עזה הבהירו מזמן שהאירוע הזה פשוט לא קרה. אגב, הוא אמר את הדברים, נאמר לו שזה לא קרה, ואז הוא אמר אותם שוב. נאמרים דברים כאלה שלא קרו.
אני מניח שבשביל להגדיל את גודל האיבה לחמאס, כאילו צריך לצייד, כאילו לא קרה מספיק כמו
אבל מה, אנשים ממציאים, אנשים רציניים ממציאים את האירועים האלה?
התשובה היא שאולי הם שמעו כשמועה, ואולי הם זה, אבל, וזה הדבר הכי חשוב שצריך להגיד בהקשר הזה, הזירה היא לא רק צבאית ולא רק מדינית, היא בעיקר תקשורתית, ואני לא בטוח שהיא לא החשובה ביותר, גם לראש הממשלה שלנו.
Firstly saying, why isn't Israel returning a 13-year-old's body after killing him while he was playing?
Well, this is a fairly common tactic that Israel uses to pressure the families of victims in incidents like this. They say, the family says that the police, the military are telling them they're not happy about the large number of people mourning at the family home since his death. They don't want him to be buried in the family cemetery in Jerusalem. They want him buried in the refugee camp, and they don't want a large funeral. They want to suppress these incidents when they happen. They don't want to draw attention to it. They don't want these to be moments where the death is marked in any large fashion. They don't want it to become an icon of any kind when these kinds of deaths happen at the hands of Israeli military and police. Now, Rami's sister, Sandy, was quoted as saying, "We only want them to hand over his body so that we can bury him and say goodbye, especially since they killed him for no sin, no reason. Rami was playing and they killed him while he was playing. They deprived him of life and deprived us of him. His friends who were with him are traumatized." So once again, the death of this young man makes him one of 116 children killed since October 7th here in the occupied West Bank.
אני לא יודע אם אתה עוקב אחרי החדשות. אנחנו שורפים להם את הכפר. זה טוב שאנחנו שורפים להם את הכפר.
You are suggesting to leave history behind, but for the Israeli hostages, it's October the 7th is still the present, and for their relatives as well. So based on the conversations you're having with the political leadership of Hamas, what is the nature of your talks, and how hopeful are you that they will be released soon? Also, could you please tell us whether you see what happened on October 7th and the fact that these hostages are still being held as an act of terrorism?
Thank you. I've stated my case that atrocities for decades cannot be erased, and you cannot find a solution by getting so one-sided in terms of looking only at one particular issue and erase 60 years of atrocities. The solution is not just releasing the hostages. I did express my concern that the hostages must be released. But then, can you say, is that all, full stop, period? What about the settlements? What about the behavior of the settlers now? Continues daily. What about the dispossession, their land, their rights, their dignity, their men, their women, their children? Are these of no concern? Where have we thrown our humanity? Why this hypocrisy?
And so the issue was not the existence of Jews in Palestine. They had been there for centuries. And of course they had ties to Palestine, and particularly to Jerusalem and other places, going back centuries, if not millennia. But the idea of establishing an exclusively Jewish state at the expense of those who are already living there, I think It was right to reject that. And I don't think we can look back now, 75 years later, and say, well, you should have accepted losing 55% of your homeland because you ended up losing 78% of it. And the remaining 22% was occupied in 1967. That's not how things work.